Good afternoon. We are Daniel,
Marco,
COK, Ibrahim.
today we are presenting leadership theories and relations to Olympian, Paralympic Oscar Pistorius. Oscar Pistorius was born in November 1986 in South Africa. And we'll be following the following sequence. What makes him a leader? What areas of leadership Oscar Pistorius best demonstrate? What models or theories help to describe or explain his approach to leadership in the sports? What can business learn from them? And followed by a summary or conclusion. I'll start by introducing Oscar Pistorius as a leader. What makes Oscar Pistorius a leader? Olympians and Paralympics alike can inspire others through their own achievements and have the ability to individual to be success inside or outside sport. Oscar Carlos Pistorius is a sprint runner with double amputee below the knees. He is usually successful Paralympic who won 3 gold medals in Beijing Games, and this year, 2012 game, made history as the first double amputee with blades to overcome in the Olympics and make to the final. We know him as the blood runner or the fastest man on all legs. Leadership traits, characteristics of Oscar Pistorius. World-class athletes possess many of the key traits associated with being a natural-born leader. I have identified 4 main traits which Pistorius clearly demonstrates. Number 1, self-confidence. Pistorius was only 11 months old when both legs were amputated, and yet he has never considered himself to be disabled and has always wanted to be judged purely on his ability as a sprint runner, alongside other able-bodied contestants. In 2007 interview with Telegraph, Oscar Pistorius said, "You are not disabled by the ability you have, you are able by the ability you have." Pistorius has not only performed as a world-class runner, he has sent a lasting message about the means of overcome limitation. Determination. Pistorius has to overcome not only physical challenges to run, but also legal ones. He aspired the Olympics with able-bodied athletes and refused to accept decisions made him ineligible because of his blades.
leadership theories. The first we will start with is transformational leadership, which best fits with Oscar Pistorius. Bayman, 1992, a process that changes and transforms people, classical theory. We got to look at Burns, which defines and distinguishes between transformational and transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is when followers trade one thing for the other, or how Kernet and Lewis put it, it is in the interest of the subordinates to do as the leaders want them to do. Bass has a more pessimistic point of view with pseudo-leadership, transformational leadership, where the leader is self-consumed, exploitive, and basically how we find leaders today. So let's move on to the analysis of the factors regarding transformational leadership. These factors include idealized influence and inspirational motivation. Idealized influence, why? Because Oscar Pistorius was the first double amputee runner in any Olympic Games. 2012 London Olympic Games was evidence of this. And Oscar Pistorius moved away from followers to step in his footsteps. Inspirational, why? Because, as Daniel said earlier, Oscar Pistorius focuses on the ability that one has rather than the disabilities. So this best fits Oscar Pistorius, but we also have the path goal theory. And according to Stefan, 2009, Management and Organization, path goal theory basically lead by example. House and Evans, they argue that a leader influences through the actions and performance and motivation is the influence of this. At this point, I yield my time to Ibrahim, which will develop the factors of path goal theory.
Thank you, Marco. As you can see, we have 4 factors of path goal theory. But we are going to only explain 2, which best describes Oscar Pistorius' role in leadership.
Achievement-oriented leader. Why? Because Oscar Pistorius sets a standard of excellence for all his subordinates. He sets that goal for each Olympic to one day run in the Olympics. So his example will definitely drive the way for new people to follow. I yield my time to Ibrahim once again, which will continue with the theories.
Thank you, Marco. Directive leadership. According to Stefan 2009, directive leadership is giving specific guidance to subordinates and asking them to follow standard rules and regulations. Analysis of this. Oscar Pistorius, based on the definition by Stefan, guide his fellow Paralympians to exceed the limit one has and to impose new challenges in their careers. This is evident when Oscar Pistorius came second in the 400 meters in London 2012 Olympic Games. And Causes 2012 also states that leadership is not all about who you are, but what you do. And now I will explain the expectancy theory first by defining it. According to Lee 2007, Oscar Pistorius' expectancy theory premises the importance of motivation. He examines motivation from the premises perspective of why people choose particular action or behavior. And now I explain the components of expectancy theory. First is the motivational force. The motivational force for Oscar Pistorius is, as Daniel earlier said, he doesn't see himself as disabled. And the second is expectancy. Expectancy of Oscar Pistorius will go back to his first gold medal when he won in Athens, which he only had 8 months to train. The instrumental for Oscar Pistorius is the Beijing Games from 2004 to 2008. He had time to increase his performance, which led to certain outcome. And the instrumental is from 2004 to 2008 to date. We can see that Oscar Pistorius never came to an Olympic game and go without a medal. And now, I'll pass you on to Stephen to explain what can business learn from Oscar Pistorius.
Pistorius performed with many qualities such as motivation, commitment, teamwork, dedication, determination, competency, and integrity. Business leaders need to perform with the same qualities, perform without abandonment, get the best results from constant effort, carrying team members to achieve their target, approach target with truth, not with bluff. So therefore, these factors made worth Pistorius' brand, which is £2 million a year. £2 million a year. So these days, business sectors advertise their brand in many areas, such as television, radio, even transport. But acknowledgement from customers is the best way of improving their brand value. Although Pistorius does not advertise himself on television, radio, or even transport, his brand value is around £2 million a year. This comes from acknowledgements from people who know him. Even if advertising is necessary, why don't business sectors put more budget on improving their goods and services using qualities which Pistorius performed with rather than making more payment on advertising? Providing higher quality goods and services with perfect after service using qualities which Pistorius performed with is the best way to return customer support on certain brand and improving their brand value.
Right now we'll conclude with showing you a quick video of Oscar Pistorius. And the main reason why we chose him is because he has no legs, but he's one of the fastest men without any legs. And he's such a open-minded guy that, to us, he is a leader to follow.
My brother's a year and a half older than I am, and my sister's about 2 years younger than I am, so we're all very close, and we just grew up in a very normal life. My mother said to us in the morning, Cole, who's my brother, she said, you know, Cole, you put on your shoes, and Oscar, you put on your prosthetic legs, and that's the last I want to hear about it. So I grew up not really thinking I had a disability. I grew up thinking I had different shoes, and yeah, it was just kind of a very normal kind of life for me. I just played sports, and I was never really an academic from a young age, so sport was really the one thing that I loved. In 2003, I was playing a high school rugby game, and I was playing on the wing, and I had a kind of a late pass. The ball came very high, and as I caught the ball, I got tackled, and I hurt my knee, and it was fairly late in the afternoon, and the big school fixtures have got beer tents, so all the fathers had had a couple of beers, and they were kind of shouting, you know, walk it off, you know, don't be so soft. So I got up, and I was limping on my knee, and I was thinking, okay, you know, usually when something looked amiss or my ankle looked like it was twisted, it was a matter of filling out a medical aid card, and I'd get my leg back 2 days later. But this, I could really feel wasn't going to be 2 days. And what happened was I went through a couple of months of sports rehabilitation, and then in January 2004, I met up with a gentleman called Abraham Lowe. He's been my coach ever since, and he's coached several top Paralympic sprinters in the past, and South African hurdle champions, and I've learned a lot from him, and I'm still learning quite a bit. So I started running, and 3 weeks after I started, I broke my first Paralympic 100-meter record, and then 7 months later I was in Athens for the Paralympic Games, and I got my first gold in the 200 there with the world record. And I started running from the beginning on the prosthetic leg, which I'm still using today, and it had been used since 1996 by some of the world's top Paralympic athletes. So yeah, I mean, I really just enjoyed running, and at that stage it was just fun, and it was just a way of getting fit for the rugby the following year, and it was really never meant to be anything that I was going to get stuck into. I'd grown up competing against kids in my neighborhood at school, so I mean, I never saw a difference between disability and ability. I just kind of, you know, played sport, and then in 2007 my times were gradually improving every year to a point that I was able to run.
Okay, well done. Give them a clap.